Here is the headline out of the Blaze. Bill Gates has given $319 million to bankroll select media outlets and change the public narrative, and the internet has receipts. This is the report. Now, I want to go ahead and preface this. Bill Gates is pretty much unloved by both the political left and the political right. I think, by and large, people know this man is not a good guy and he doesn't have good intentions.
I think so, too. I think most people would agree.
But let's get into the scope of just how powerful he is as an individual. So again, that's the $319 million number for the amount of money he has given out to different media outlets. What are these media outlets? Well, there's a lot. There's a lot. They had to go in and review over 30,000 grants given out by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Now, the main beneficiaries of these millions and millions of dollars is CNN, NBC, NPR, PBS, The Atlantic, New York Public Radio, and more. And what way do all those news outlets lean? Just riddle me that, Will.
No, it's not even a riddle. It's pretty obvious.
It's not a riddle. No.
How can you have media in this country when the media is bought out? It's like people expect Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world, to buy the Washington Post and think that the Washington Post is going to write articles that are bad about Jeff Bezos or about billionaires or tax things on billionaires, like all these different things. Like, no, of course not. If Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is giving hundreds of thousands up to millions of dollars to certain news organizations, what do you think they are going to report on?
Yeah.
You will not have fair journalism in this country when you have that going on. I mean, Bill Gates is genuinely evil in so many of the things that he has invested in that you guys probably don't have any idea the things that he has his feet in. I mean, when it comes to the synthetic beef and all that kind of stuff, the farmland that he owns, he has 300 million or 300,000 acres of farmland.
Bill Gates is the biggest farmer in America.
Yeah,
technically.
Biggest private farmer.
Yeah,
there's still like 900 million acres of farmland.
That's amazing.
And he owns about 300,000 of them. But what he does when he does this is that he is making it so that essentially small farmers are not owning their own land anymore. Right? When all these investors, big companies in China as well, is coming in and investing in American farmland, when they're coming in and doing this, it makes it so that small business farmers are not being able to build up their own farms, right? Because you have some huge conglomerate foundation coming in and buying all these farms. And then what do they want to do? Bill Gates wants to get rid of meat. He wants to get rid of meat and turn it all into synthetic meat. He's buying up the farmland so that they can do that. I mean, it's just, man, yeah, not a good guy.
Yeah, I mean, and it points to that our battles can be fought together. It doesn't matter what side of the political aisle you fall on this one, you should care about this. And for those of you who say, well, he's not using it for influence, he's simply just giving them resources and money. Let's look at the article here. The money is generally directed towards issues close to the Gates heart. For example, $3.6 million was given to CNN to go towards gender equality in least developed countries and talking about the fight for women and girls around the world. He's given money to go through different racialized and diversity and equity and inclusion for these different programs and these different media outlets. He's given money. I did a story on this a while back. There was a big story that came out months ago as the news cycles go through, called The Pathway to Equitable Math. And you guys remember this as the 2 + 2 does not equal 4 because that's racist. Bill Gates was funding that. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation was the primary funder for that initiative to review and take away objectivity from math.
Look, he's giving money, just like you just said, about gender equality across the world. Yep. Okay, that is something that he is giving money to. Gender equality across the world. Is he giving money to Ayaan Hirsi Ali? Is he giving money to people who are actually for gender equality against these Islamist nations? These nations that are horrible to women, like in Saudi Arabia, you are a second-class citizen. In Somalia, you have genital mutilation for almost all of the girls who are born in that country. No, they're not calling out any of that kind of stuff. They're not calling out any of this stuff. They just call out what's easy. They can put money towards a news organization and say, hey, talk about gender equality across the world and say that women need to do better in all these places, which in most places women are actually doing better than men, at least in Western countries are doing much better than men. And it's like you are funding nonsensical stuff that in no way is actually helping people, but makes you feel good and is pushing the agenda that you want to push. Because the real issues that we should be talking about, like look at the climate change stuff. Bill Gates again with the farmland stuff. They want to say, oh, it's all about climate change. It's about climate change. It's like, well, then why aren't you giving money to the city of San Francisco because the city of San Francisco stopped putting trash cans on their beaches because they said it cost them too much money to have workers come and empty the trash cans. But you're not doing that, so you're making your beaches and all these places look like crap. And then you say you care about climate change. I know that's a lot. I'm going on a lot of different things, but there's so much of this that is like people will always be fine giving money to these solutions and these things they say are going to help people. They're not looking at the real problems ever, because they know that once the real problems are solved, which they have, most of the real problems, at least in America, have been solved, and now they're getting worse because of these stupid people, then they won't have anywhere to feel morally justified about it, to send their money to. So they don't solve real problems.
And the baseline of it, it's even if you were solving real problems or problems that are near and dear to your heart, what you're doing is disingenuous because you are influencing media with your money. You are not getting journalistic integrity when it comes to the actual God-honest truth, the objectivity of the matter. You are getting Bill Gates' opinion of the objectivity of the matter. You are getting what he thinks about certain things. You are not getting the information that is your right to have. You are getting what he believes is the information that you have the right to have. And it is not just with news media outlets. It's not just your CNNs, your MSNBCs, your NBCs, your NPRs, although he is funding that to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. It's also the entertainment programs that you're watching. Here's more. He's also in direct connection with Viacom CBS, which produces shows like ER and Law and Order SVU. And it says here that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has a direct network with these people, and they intervene to change the storylines of these popular TV shows. So when you turn on Law and Order SVU and you start hearing about how racial equity is the most important issue when it comes to sex crimes in New York City, or you turn on ER and you talk about how a transgender comes into the ER because they were beaten in the street for being trans, it's because these people are influencing and infiltrating the storylines of the shows that you and your children watch.
Yeah. It used to be Grey's Anatomy. Now they're going to rename it Gay's Anatomy.
They would if they had their way.
They probably would. They probably would.
Oh my goodness. It's just
it's crazy.
It's the rabbit hole. It's one of those things that is just, again, I can't stress enough. It's a uniting factor between both sides of the political aisle. No matter who you are, no matter what you believe, you want the God-honest truth. You don't want this. You don't want bias. You don't want some billionaire telling you what you can and cannot think and what you can and cannot see. You want the truth. And even if we come to different conclusions about our own opinions on the truth, we deserve to have it. And he is not giving us that. The elites who control these media outlets are against you having proper information.
'Cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that